Good evening. You're watching Verdict 2017 on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are today's Verdict headlines. Campaigning for assembly elections ends in Punjab and Goa. Single-phase elections in both states take place on February 4th. Samajwadi Party and BSP hold campaign rallies in Uttar Pradesh. SP President Akhilesh Yadav targets centre on budget. BSP President Mayawati urges voters to help her defeat SP and BJP. And on the last day of campaigning in Punjab, Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi addresses gathering in Sangrur district, targets ruling Shiromani Akali Dal and Aam Aadmi Party. While the campaigning for the assembly elections in Punjab and Goa came to an end on Thursday, polling for the two states is slated for February 4th. Voting will take place for 117 seats in the Punjab Assembly, for which 1,145 candidates are in the fray. Punjab will witness a multi-cornered contest on all assembly seats. While the Congress is going alone on 117 seats, ruling Shiromani Akali Dal and its ally the BJP will contest in 94 and 23 seats respectively. A new entrant to Punjab Assembly elections, Aam Aadmi Party has fielded candidates in 110 seats and its ally Lok Insaf Party in 7. Meanwhile, in Goa, voting will take place for 40 seats, for which 251 candidates including 19 women are in the fray. Goa Assembly polls are likely to be a three-pronged fight, with the ruling BJP, opposition Congress and new entrant are pitted against each other. While Manohar Parrikar-led BJP had won in 2012 elections in alliance with the Maharashtra-Wadi Gomantak Party, this time it has been abandoned by its political friends who have now ganged up against it. Congress has fielded 37 candidates and is supporting Goa forward in a few constituencies. The BJP is contesting on 36 seats and has extended support to independents in 4 constituencies. The Aam Aadmi Party is contesting in 39 seats. Shiv Sena is contesting the election in alliance with the rebel RSS leader Subhash Wellinkar-led Goa Suraksha Manch and Maharashtra Wadi Gomantak Party. Well, joining me for a chat right now is senior journalist Parsa Venkateshwar Rao Jr. Parsa, as far as Punjab and Goa are concerned, both the states go to polls on February 4th. Very crucial election, would you believe, for the Aam Aadmi Party, because the Aam Aadmi Party is spreading its wings and is contesting in both these states.
Yeah, it's going out of Delhi, and perhaps after its unprecedented success in the Delhi Assembly elections, it would like to make an impact in these two states. As to whether they will make it or not, the expectations are very high. Even independent observers seem to think that in Punjab, Aam Aadmi Party has a fairly good chance of even causing an upset. And it is going to make a huge difference in Goa. I feel the reason why the Aam Aadmi Party has become so significant in these two states is not only the ambition of, very legitimate ambition of Aam Aadmi Party, but that there is certain vacuum in these two states, political vacuum, because the electorate are caught between two parties which have both been tested, Congress and Akali Dal in Punjab and Congress and BJP in Goa. So voters are willing to try out or experiment with a third alternative, a viable alternative. And it appears that Aam Aadmi Party is taking its claim to be a viable alternative.
Indeed, but as far as the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned, does the party's political future depend on these elections?
I think they are not, it is not a question, because they do not have much at stake. They are not a huge party, they have not tasted power, they have nothing to lose. It's all for grabs. In Punjab, they are making a debut, so they don't have to prove, or they don't have to worry or look over the shoulders whether they would be able to defend what they have. They have nothing to defend, so they will go all out for it. It is similarly the case in Goa. They are just making their presence felt, And if whatever comes to them is a gain. Even if they gain 10 seats, it's 100% gain. Even if they gain 5 seats, it's 100% gain.
Sure.
So Aam Aadmi Party has nothing but to gain. It has nothing to lose.
Indeed. All right. Do stay with us, Parsa. I'm going to come back to you for another reaction on the other stories that we're tracking here on Verdict 2017 as well. Now, on the last day of assembly poll campaigning in Punjab, Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi addressed a gathering in Sangrur district where he targeted the ruling Shiromani Akali Dal. Rahul held the SAD-BJP alliance responsible for the deteriorating condition of Punjab. The Congress leader also accused Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal of helping forces who want to disturb peace in Punjab. Rahul Gandhi also attended a Sanja Chula or a common kitchen program in the district. Earlier addressing a rally in Punjab's Lambi district, Rahul said only the Congress can bring everyone together. Well, coming back to you now, Parsa, we've seen Rahul Gandhi, try to project himself as a leader of the masses, as a leader of the farmers and the downtrodden, and it seems like that's the case in Punjab as well, where he's decided to go and meet the women, try and cook with them. So that's the kind of image that he's trying to build at the moment.
I think Rahul Gandhi wants to take Congress back into the 1970s of the Indira Gandhi era, when it is left populism appealing to the deprived, to the poor, to the marginalized section. But I think he's slightly out of sync with the times, though the economy is not doing well and there is a lot of discontent among large sections of the people, especially the economically vulnerable sections. I'm not very sure that this kind of rhetoric, socialist rhetoric, tested and tried and also seen to be very inadequate, will succeed because he's speaking to a new generation. He's a new generation person, but I don't see him using a new idiom. He's using a very jaded and antediluvian idiom of pro-poor.
Sure. Stay with us, Parsa. I'm going to come back again to you for another reaction on the other stories too that we're tracking here. Now, the nomination process for the fifth phase of elections began today in Uttar Pradesh. Polling for 52 seats spread across 11 districts, including Rahul Gandhi's parliamentary constituency Amethi, will take place on February 27th. The last date for filing nominations is February 9th, while withdrawals can be made till February 13th. The Samajwadi Party had 137 seats out of the 52 in the 2012 assembly polls, while the BJP and the Congress hold 5 seats each. The BSP won 3 seats, while the Peace Party has won 2 seats in this phase. Now, 1.84 crore voters are expected to exercise their franchise in this phase. Well, both the Samajwadi Party and the BSP today held campaign rallies in Uttar Pradesh. Addressing a gathering in Katoli in Muzaffarnagar, Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav targeted the centre, saying that none of their budgets brought in Achhe Din. BSP Chief Mayawati urged voters to help her defeat the SP and the BJP.
Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav on Thursday criticized the union budget, saying he couldn't see the promised Achhe Din in it. Addressing a rally at Khatoli in Muzaffarnagar, the Samajwadi Party president attacked the centre for its demonetization scheme, claiming that the BJP only misleads and lies to people. BSP Chief Mayawati also addressed a rally in Bulandshahr, where she targeted both the ruling Samajwadi Party and the BJP. She said opposition parties using fake opinion poll surveys will be ousted after results. She further added that if the BJP comes to power, it will finish reservations. Mayawati also attacked the Congress for forming an alliance with the Samajwadi Party.
देश के दलितों, पिछड़ों व अल्पसंख्यक समाज के लोगों का अधिकांश मामलों में पहले से भी काफी ज्यादा शोषण व उत्पीड़न आदि किया है। अल्पसंख्यक समाज के लोगों को अपना एक तरफा वोट सपा को न देकर अकेले बहुजन समाज पार्टी को ही देना है।
Elections to the UP Assembly will be held from February 11th in 7 phases. The House has 403 seats. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, going back to my guest right now, Parsa Venkateshwar Rao, Junior Senior Journalist. Well, Parsa, as far as Uttar Pradesh is concerned, we've seen the Samajwadi Party and the Bahujan Samaj Party, in fact, attacking the BJP, and, you know, they don't seem to be attacking each other as much as they are attacking the BJP. Is it a case of all the others against the BJP in Uttar Pradesh?
In a way, it looked like that the rest of the parties are arranged against the BJP as they did in Bihar. But here there's a slight variation in UP because it's a much more complex state politically. The BSP, as we have seen BSP President Mayawati's speech, that she has to fight on two fronts. She has to fight the SP at the local level, and she has to fight the BJP because the BJP wants to be seen as an alternative. She ignores the Congress because she knows Congress is not significant enough. So she has a double front, two-front battle ahead of her, against the BJP on the one hand and against the SP on the other. But I think SP is the more important thing, depending on how it turns out, in the sense that if SP is facing the anti-incumbency thing, the real fight is between BSP and BJP because both are claiming to be the alternatives.
Sure, all right. We'll have to leave to that. Thank you so much, Parsa Venkateshwar Rao Jr. for joining us on the program and putting things into perspective for us. Well, moving on now. The Congress is looking for a strong show in its stronghold Rai Bareli. Represented by party chief Sonia Gandhi, the constituency has a familiar presence in Priyanka Gandhi. Will the conventional issues like roads, local infrastructure, education and employment still play a role in these elections? Panchanan Mishra's report from poll-bound Uttar Pradesh.
Widely known as VIP constituency, Rai Bareli has been the pocket borough of the first family of the Congress. The seat was once held by former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi and now Congress President Sonia Gandhi. But all that hasn't really helped for the local residents in this 5 assembly segment. The VIP constituency is still awaiting better roads and improved hospitals. And with the politicians and administration looking other way, the complaints are only increasing. This time though, demonetization of the 500 and 1000 rupees currency notes has added further to the problems.
नोटबंदी का असर तो बहुत है क्योंकि छोटे तबके का आदमी जो गांव में है आज तक बैंकों में पैसा नहीं पहुंचा है वो गांव की पब्लिक बहुत परेशान है इस बीच
काम की हालत सड़कों की हालत बहुत ज्यादा खराब है चुनावी जो वादे किए जाते हैं वो कहीं से भी 1% पूरे नहीं होते चाहे कोई भी विधायक हो
Job creation has taken a nosedive with several industrial units and factories being shut.
कंपनियां बंद है यहाँ पे मजदूर रोड पे घूम रहा है और उसमें काम करने के लिए रोटी के लिए तरस रहा है और उसमें कंपनियां जो थी उसमें सब बंद पड़ी हुई हैं।
हम लोग का बहुत मुश्किल है न पैसे कमा नहीं पाते इसलिए कि फैक्ट्री बंद के कारण हम लोग यहाँ के जितने भी निवासी सबको बहुत बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है।
Rai Bareli did benefit during the Congress-led UPA era with projects like a rail coach factory, National Institute of Fashion Technology being announced, but all that is in the past. In the 2012 UP Assembly polls, the Congress failed to bag even a single seat in the 5 Assembly segments within the Lok Sabha segment. This time, Congress workers are banking on Priyanka Gandhi's long association with the people of constituency to register a strong performance.
कांग्रेस अब की बार पूरी तरह से मुकाबले में है जनता का रुझान भी कांग्रेस के प्रति बड़ा अनुकूल है उसका कारण है क्योंकि उसने 2012 में रायबरेली की जनता ने कांग्रेस के विधायकों को नहीं चुना तो उन्होंने यह एहसास भी किया कि कहीं न कहीं इससे सोनिया जी के द्वारा जो जनपद के विकास की जो एक प्रक्रिया है वो बाधित होती है।
In 2012, the Samajwadi Party won 4 out of 5 seats in Rai Bareli. One went to an independent. But this time round, after finalizing an alliance with the Samajwadi Party, Congress workers may have a reason to be optimistic about their chances. Panchanan Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, it's time for a short break now, but we'll be right back.
घाटा one of the oldest and most unique percussion instruments of southern India. You can play it not only with your fingers, but palms, wrists and heels as well. You'll be surprised, but the air inside the ghatam reverberates, creating the musical notes. 5 elements of nature: earth, water, air, fire and space make up the composition of this beautiful musical piece, which has found an apt place in most of the ancient books.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, aiming to spread awareness on free and fair polling, the Election Commission today organized a 1.5-kilometer long painting competition in Imphal for children and youth. The EC is also trying to encourage people to take part in the upcoming elections. Our correspondent Akhilesh Suman took stock of the colourful event.
इस लंबी कतार को देखिए, इस कतार में बच्चे हैं, विभिन्न तरह के बच्चे हैं, विभिन्न श्रेणी के बच्चे हैं और ये पेंटिंग कंपटीशन में भाग ले रहे हैं। आइए इनसे पूछते हैं ये क्या कर रहे हैं। हेलो
हेलो,
क्या नाम है आपका?
मेरा नाम याइफबी है, याइफबी चांदम। मैं एक द लॉन्गेस्ट पेंटिंग कंपटीशन में भाग ले रही हूँ और इसका थीम है फ्री एंड फेयर इलेक्शन, पीसफुल एंड एथिकल वोटिंग।
तो ये 10वीं कक्षा में पढ़ती है ये बच्ची और 10वीं कक्षा में ही उसको इस बात की जानकारी है कि मुक्त चुनाव होना चाहिए, पारदर्शी चुनाव होना चाहिए और इसके लिए बच्चे अपने मन से इस तरह की पेंटिंग बना रहे हैं। आप समझ सकते हैं कि मणिपुर में अभी आर्थिक नाकेबंदी का माहौल है। 4 और 8 मार्च को यहाँ चुनाव होने वाले हैं। हालांकि अभी इसकी अधिसूचना नहीं जारी की गई है, लेकिन चुनाव आयोग अपनी तरफ से पूरी तैयारी कर रही है कि वो चुनाव को ठीक तरीके से संपन्न कराए और न सिर्फ ठीक तरीके से संपन्न कराए बल्कि ये भी सुनिश्चित करे कि लोग इसमें भागीदारी करें।
In Manipur, the Congress government has staked a lot of political capital in announcing 7 new districts in the state. While the strategy was to bring different communities in its favor, Chief Minister Ibobi Singh is facing a challenge from his own community, the Meiteis. They form almost 53% of the state's population of 25 lakhs, or rather 29 lakhs, and are upset by the lack of jobs and development. RSTV's Akhilesh Suman travelled near the Lotak Lake to get some Meitei voices. Jitendra Singh holds a graduate degree, speaks good English, but failure to get a government job, he says, has forced him to take up fishing in the Lotak Lake to make both ends meet. A Meitei, he blames the Ibobi Singh government for the state of affairs.
Rules the 15 years. Through that, now we are all young people are getting suffered. Because of that, we cannot get this job. I am an educated man, young, so I cannot get the job because I don't have the money to give. Because the Manipuris has a lot of corrupt debts, so we cannot give the money.
The floating grasslands on the Lotak Lake are not only a tourist attraction, they also offer local residents a dependable livelihood. But not anymore. The grass is being cut and burnt under the pretext of keeping the place clean by the administration. Residents claim that this is keeping the tourists away, causing them economic hardships.
Every month, more than 10 foreigners comes outside from India. American came, Germans, Japanese also came. They love to see this Lotak Lake and people living here, how people live here. When they come here, they want to live with these or villages. They don't want to live in a resort or in restaurant.
About the 2008, they had burned the huts.
What for?
They said that the Lotak is not having the huts. The Manipur government has said that. They are not giving the people. The people who depend upon the Lotak Lake is the very poor people. They depend upon, they send to their children's school by the help of the Lotak and by the leave of the Lotak huts.
Meiteis, who are a majority, had great expectations of development. But instead, the entire area has become a grassy dump, with unused machinery making it an eyesore. The hit to the local economy has made the community turn against the government and question its decision to form new districts in the state.
He is a totally corrupted person. Totally corrupted person. He corrupts so many amounts from poor peoples. Now government of India is looking very seriously about the movement, about the politics of Ibobi Singh.
The disappointment in the Meitei community is just another indicator that the Congress strategy to polarize votes is not working for the party. The field is open for the other parties to make inroads into the Meitei vote. The BJP has made its intentions clear in wooing the community, having put community leaders in responsible party positions.
Being the majority community of Manipur, Meiteis consider themselves as the ruling class of the state, and they feel themselves responsible for the development and upkeep of the state. And that is why they always try to align with those powers who are in the center. It will be interesting to see that how Meiteis decide about in this election, the same way or they go another way. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Sabha Television with camera person Sudhanshu in Iting village of Manipur.
Well, the Naga People's Front is the only political party to represent the Naga people who is fighting for the cause of them. Our correspondent Akhilesh Suman caught up with the Naga People's Front General Secretary Honrikui Kashung. Let's listen in.
If the situation is not improved, I think it will disturb. So I don't think it will be a normal.
Do you think that United National Council is going to disturb the election process also? Because till now they are just blocking the goods vehicles.
I cannot predict now, but if social situation is not improved, things can happen at any time. So it is a government's responsibility to finish up, to come to the conclusion of this blockade.
So you are the only political party representing the Naga people, as far as I understand. Do you think that if state government does not retract from its previous decision of dividing the state into 7 more districts, is it possible for UNC to take the blockade back?
Whether they retract or that is another question, but negotiation is necessary, dialogue is necessary.
United Naga Council's blockade has the support of Nagas in general?
It is generally supporting. That is why the blockade is still, it can resist. So government cannot function properly in the hill district. So this, we can say that whole Naga support in this, because it is a common cause for tribals.
So as a political party, what do you want now?
We wish this blockade to conclude, to come to the settlement at the earliest with the responsible government authorities.
Well, here's a roundup of the other election-related news in Polpuri. Campaigning for assembly elections in Punjab and Goa ended today. The two states go to polls on Saturday. The EC issued a detailed guideline to the district election officers in Punjab to ensure 48-hour prohibition on broadcasting of propagating election-related material on TV, radio and newspapers. Four rebel Congress leaders who are contesting as independents in the 15 February assembly elections in Uttarakhand today withdrew in favour of the party's official nominees. Shilpi Arora from Kicha, Ramesh Max from Khatima, Rajendra Singh from Rudraprayag and Rajendra Dhawan from Kant seat have withdrawn, pledging support for the party's official candidates. The Punjab unit of the Congress expelled Inder Sekhri and 5 others for anti-party activities ahead of assembly polls. Congress Chief Ministerial candidate Captain Amrinder Singh confirmed that Sekhri, who is contesting the election from Batala Assembly constituency against the party's nominated candidate Ashwini Sekhri, and his 5 supporters were expelled permanently from primary membership. RLD General Secretary Jayant Chaudhary and party candidate from Shamli Bijender Malik were booked for violating the Model Code of Conduct in Shamli district. Police said the cases were filed on both leaders for holding public meetings without prior permission from the administration. That's it to this edition of Verdict 2017. Have a good evening.